everyone to our introduction to the time of use transition. This is for EBCE and PG&E customers alike. Thank you for joining us. This is being recorded. It's actually going to be streamed on Facebook Live, and we'll also be recording it and putting it up on EBCE's website and YouTube channel. So if you do find that you're only able to join for part of the time and then need to head out, no worries, you can always come back and re-listen later on. So today I will be joined by Jessica Chancellor from PG&E. She is the principal product manager with time of use rates. I'm Kelly Brezovec, our senior manager of account services. If you do have any questions during the presentation, feel free to use the Q&A function. That's the little function that looks like two thought bubbles right next to each other. It says Q&A. Just enter your question in there. We have Gabrielle Ruxin, customer care coordinator, and myself will be working hard to get those questions answered in real time to help you out. You're also welcome to hold questions till the end if that's better for you. Today we'll do a very brief EBCE introduction, since I know that we have potentially have some folks joining from our new communities. Welcome, a big welcome especially to those folks in Tracy, Newark, and Pleasanton, in addition to our other EBCE communities. So we'll do a really quick EBCE introduction, and then Jessica will cover the time of use transition and how to find the best rate plan for you. And then we'll end with assistance programs. And we hope that you're able to stay on through the whole time. We do have a quick survey at the end as well. So quickly, EBCE is East Bay Community Energy, and we're the local provider committed to providing Alameda County and the city of Tracy with clean electricity at low rates. And your city council, whatever jurisdiction you're at, and if you're in the county of Alameda, it would have been the county supervisors voted to join EBCE. We've donated over $2 million to COVID-19 relief in 2020. And any programs that EBCE offers are in addition to whatever you are able to receive from PG&E, inclusive of some of the assistance programs we'll talk about and other energy efficiency programs. EBCE works by purchasing clean power, and we're building these power plants. Today, one of my colleagues is actually out at a wind facility that we're working on today. And then we sell you that power. One of the things, really topical for this webinar is that we use the same rate schedule that you see from PG&E. So if you today are on an E1 rate and you've heard about these time of use rates, you're going to get that same kind of rate with EBCE as you would with PG&E. And you'll see that same thing on the transmission side of your bill. PG&E delivers the power. They're doing the transmission and distribution, or the delivery of your bill. And so you're going to see that same TOUC, let's say, on the PG&E page as you would the EBCE page. And you'll also, if you haven't received a bill from us yet, you'll see that extra page added to your PG&E bill. We're not an extra charge. We're just replacing the generation that you would have historically received from PG&E. And you benefit by getting a little bit cleaner energy, lower rates, and you get things like this, a webinar that's just for you as an EBCE customer. We also encourage you to participate in our regular monthly board of directors meetings. With all that back behind us now, let's jump over to Jessica to talk through the time of use transition.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kelly. Can you hear me just fine? Okay, great. Well, let's get into it. We have a lot of information to cover today, and you're not going to remember all of it, I'm sure, because there's so much, but we're going to hit on some key points that you'll be able to take with you and take action today if you choose. Some items that you'll be able to benefit from as well, likely. Next slide. Okay, so currently we do have a time of use transition that is underway across the entire state of California. The California Public Utility Commission, that also known as the CPUC, has mandated the investor-owned utilities in California to move customers who are currently on a tiered rate plan, also known as E1, to a time of use rate plan. So what does that mean is that PG&E, San Diego Gas and Electric, and Southern California Edison are all required to move these customers automatically to a time of use rate. But one thing I want to point out today is that you do still have a choice. So we'll get into more about rate options in just a moment, but you may be wondering, what does this mean really? And what it means is that we realize there's an opportunity to make sure that customers are incentivized to shift energy to off-peak periods that we have with a time of use rate plan so that we can better meet demand for customers when they need to use energy. And this time of use transition for PG&E is already underway right now. We started back in October of 2020, and we are going all the way through to March of 2022. For the specific area of EBCE, I'll get into the transition schedule where you guys will be included in it and be able to answer some of the commonly asked questions for you in just a moment. What is depicted at the bottom of the screen right now is a look at the transition time of use rate schedule. And what that means when you see off-peak is that the majority of the time of day, in this case with this rate plan, 19 hours of each day is at a lower price. That's when we want customers to use the majority of their energy if they're able to. And then the other period of time, which is the orange area highlighted, is the peak time. And that is 5 hours of each day, between the hours of 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. Next slide. Okay, so this is a look at the timing for when, if you are included in the transition, when you would expect that to happen. For the Alameda County area, you are scheduled to transition in May of this year. And then we have the San Joaquin area is scheduled for Tracy specifically in November of 2021. Now, prior to transitioning, you will receive a few notifications. What is displayed for you right now is what we refer to as a 90-day notification. You should have received this one more than likely already. What is showcased here, though, is that the 90-day notification provides information about the transition, and then blown up for you at the top there, it indicates that there's a personalized rate plan comparison. What this means is that we've looked at your energy usage over the past year, and we were able to estimate based on how you've already been using your energy, meaning what time of day and how much. And we have provided an estimated annual cost for you for 3 of the rate plans that you would be eligible for today. You'll see all the way to the left is whatever your current rate plan is. In this case, if you're part of the transition, it's always going to be E1. The middle one is the transition time of use rate plan, which is known as TOUC. And then the one on the end is an optional, another time of use rate plan, just an alternative one, known as TOUD. And with that rate plan, it's peak pricing 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. on the weekdays. So the idea here in providing this rate comparison is that we want to be able to take the guesswork out of determining what is the best rate plan for you so that you can easily make an educated decision on the best rate plan for your household. Now below on the 90-day notification, there is an area that is perforated. There's a response card or reply form, also known as, and this is one of the ways that you can take action. Now you can either A, decline the transition and stay on your current rate plan. B, the middle box, which is transition to time of use C, which requires no action at all, but if you like to check the box, then go right ahead and do so. And then the last box is TOUD. So again, in line with that rate comparison, you can easily identify which one you want to be able to select. You sign it, date it, and drop it in the mail. It does have postage paid on it already. Next slide. Now, prior to transitioning, there are a couple other notifications. You have, as I said, the 90-day notification, and you will also get a 30-day notification. What that means is that it's a reminder that goes out to you if you haven't taken any action about 30 days prior to transitioning. Now, you'll get this in the mail, but you may also get this by email. So if you have an email address on file with us here at PG&E, we will send you an email notification reminder as well. So you could potentially get 3 notifications in total prior to transitioning. And then if you decide to take no action and you do transition to the time of use C rate plan, then you will also receive a welcome letter. So it lets you know you have transitioned and provides you, again, information about the transition time of use rate plan, when best to use energy, different resources available for you. Now, each one of these notifications lets you know that you do have rate options. Although this transition is automatic, it is still providing you an option to make the choice yourself. So just keep that in mind and take action if you feel like there is a better rate plan for you. Next slide. Okay, so we do have several solar customers, and if you are one of them, I want to cover some information with you today about whether or not you're impacted and how you might be impacted. For solar customers, we do have what is referred to as standard NEM, which means that you've probably had your solar service for a little while, and
Hi, everyone. Jessica lost her audio, and so while she's reconnecting, I'll jump in here and get us through these. So solar customers, they receive an annual NEM statement from PG&E. These customers will transition to the new rate starting this month through March of 2022. And that will be based on when you typically have your true up with PG&E. So it'll be at the same time so that your new true up cycle with PG&E is all on the same new time of use rate. It looks like Jessica's audio is back, so I'll hand it back to her. I just covered bullet number 2, Jessica. You're fine. You're fine.
Thank you, Kelly. Apologize for the technical difficulties. Apparently, I just lost my phone connection, but I'm back, so thank you for your patience. Okay, so as Kelly explained, your transition month is based on your true-up month. So that you don't have a change in your true-up, if this is the reason for that. Customers who are solar usually become accustomed to that. We want to make sure that this is easy for them. And then with this rate plan, part of the component is that bill protection is provided. And I'm going to provide a little bit more information about that in a little bit later in the slides here. But just know that you also will be receiving bill protection even if you are a solar customer. And then in addition to that, just like our other residential customers, You do have the ability to receive a personalized rate plan comparison online today. You can log in online, and I'll take you through that in just a moment. But you will still receive the notifications with the 90-day rate comparison, and then also those reminders as well. Next slide. Okay, so as I stated, not everybody is going to be transitioning, and in order to help you understand if you are going to be part of the transition or not, there are a couple easy identifiers to help you to know. One is that if you are already on a time of use rate plan, you're not going to be included because you're already doing your part likely to shift your energy to the off-peak periods. The other piece is that if you have medical baseline as a program on your account, you will not be included. And then because we want to provide you a full year's worth of usage for your personalized rate plan comparison so that it's as accurate as possible for you, you need to have at least 12 months of service. So that would be the reason why you would be excluded in that case as well. What this means, though, is that you still have a choice in your rate plan. So even if you're not included in the transition, if you decide you like TOUC and you want to be on it, then by all means, you can go and change your rate today. Okay, so there's a few things that I want to cover here with you as well. When it comes to the transition or rate plans, you have a choice. One, you can stay on your current rate plan by simply declining it, and either through the reply card or giving us a call in our contact center, doing that through the automated system, going online. There's a few different ways to do that. Number two, you can change your rate plan at any time. In fact, you can change your rate plan up to 2 times a year. So if you decide that you want to be on a different rate plan because maybe your energy usage has changed, then you're able to do that. Something to keep in mind is that over the past year or so, we've been in a COVID-19 shelter-in-place type scenario where a lot of people are spending more time at home. So they're probably using more energy than what they had in the past. Because of that, if things start to shift with the COVID-19 shelter in place because of vaccinations, then your usage patterns may change as well. And in turn, your best rate plan may change there as well. So you want to make sure that you're going online at least a couple times a year to make sure that you run a personalized rate plan comparison to ensure that you're continuing to be on the best rate based on the way you're using your energy. And then lastly, you can take no action at all. And if you're part of the transition, you're automatically going to be moved to the time of use C rate. Next slide.
You know, Jessica, I'm just going to pop in here because we've had quite a few questions about from EV owners specifically.
Yeah.
And so I think it would be helpful to maybe review before we get to the next section what happens if someone is already on an EV rate or another flavor of time of use, and at what point customers can choose those EV rates.
Yes, so EV customers are already on a time of use type rate, so they're not going to be included in the transition. I do have a slide that I'm going to cover with you a little bit in more detail about different rate options so that you can understand the different types of rates that are available. But when it comes to EV, there's 2 different types really. There is one that is for electric vehicle and battery storage. And there is another one that is more for just electric vehicles. And then Kim has been kind enough to put the URL link for information about electric vehicles in the chat. So you can easily just click on that and get more information in regards to that. Was there another more pointed question about EV?
No, I think that's helpful. Thanks.
Okay. Next slide. Okay, so I touched on this briefly when we were talking about solar, but the more specific piece to bill protection is that if you're part of the transition, then you are going to be receiving bill protection from PG&E and East Bay Community Energy. And what that means is that if you pay more on the TOUC rate than you would have on your prior E1 rate plan, then we're going to credit you back the difference, both PG&E and EBCE. So that happens automatically. One item to call out is that to understand really how a customer is going to fully perform on a time of use rate, it really is best for a customer to try out a rate plan for an entire year. And for that reason, EBCE is providing bill protection if you stay on the rate plan for the full 12 months. If you decide to change your rate plan before that time period, then you wouldn't be eligible for the bill protection in that case. You would still receive that full bill protection from PG&E, though, regardless of the time period, as long as it's up to 12 months. Next slide. Okay, so we touched a little bit on this already. When it comes to rate plans, you have a choice. We understand that this is not a one-size-fits-all approach. And for that reason, you can choose what rate plan best fits the needs of your household. Keeping in mind that their household sizes are different in terms of square footage, also the number of people living in the home, also the energy efficiency of your home, all is a factor when determining the best rate plan for you. Again, we have time of use rate plans. So these rate plans are pointed more to not just how much energy you use, but also when you're using energy matters. So you want to make sure that you're cognizant of when you're using energy on a time of use rate plan. But the great thing about time of use rate plans is that it really does put more control back into the customer's hands on their bill. Because if you can shift your energy, the majority of it, to off-peak times, you usually can save by being on this type of rate plan. Another rate plan that we have is the tiered rate plan, which is also known as E1. And what this rate plan is it provides a lot of flexibility, and when you use your energy, your rate doesn't change based on whether you use energy in the morning or if you use it at night. But the more you use, the higher rate you do pay. So really, you want to make sure that you're conserving overall in terms of energy usage when you're on a rate plan like this, because again, the more usage that you use, the higher rate that you would pay. But it does not differ based on the time of day that you're using your energy. And then we have 2 electric vehicle rate plans at this time, and we also have a battery storage rate plan. So these rate plans are designed best for people who have either an electric vehicle, or you might have battery storage that you're utilizing during power outages or public safety power shutoffs. These can be really helpful. So keep that in mind as well. If you have something like that at your home, you would likely benefit from a rate plan like that. Now, rates are inherently pretty complicated. Nobody expects for customers to become rate experts in order to figure out what is the best rate plan for them. For that reason, we have a tool that has been designed to take all of the guesswork out of determining what is the best rate plan for you. This tool is available to PG&E and EBCE customers. So the majority of customers can perform a rate plan comparison, and it will do the work for you. You can go online to pge.com/rate choices and run that personalized rate plan comparison today. Next slide. Okay. One of the common myths that I hear about time of use rate plans is that, well, during the peak time, I don't want to go outside and shut off my breaker. I can't use any energy during those peak hours. That's not the case. Really, on a time of use rate plan, to be successful, you want to just make sure that you're moving some of those higher energy usage items. Like maybe do your chores, like the laundry and the dishwasher type items outside of those peak windows. You know, nobody's asking you to have a candlelit dinner and shut off all your lights unless you choose to do so. You can still cook dinner during 4 to 9, but there's some easy things that you can do that we've highlighted here for you to make a time of use rate plan more beneficial for you so that you can see those savings where possible. Other things you want to make sure to do is that, you know, if you have a pool and your filter or your pool pump, those things are running, make sure they're running outside of the peak windows. All of these regular type usage items like chargers and stuff like that, make sure that you're unplugging them during the peak windows. The more that you can conserve during those times, it will just help you in the long run in terms of lowering your bill. Next slide. Okay, so I've talked a lot about the personalized rate plan comparison. I want to show you exactly how easy it is to do this so that you can take action today and help your friends and family do so as well. So let's get right into it. Okay, so you can do a personalized rate plan comparison in as little as 4 easy steps. Nearly all customers, PG&E and EBCE customers, are able to do this. You only have to have a smart meter and at least 6 months of energy usage at your current residence in order to do a personalized rate plan comparison. Next slide. Now, what you want to do to start with is go to pge.com, and there, if you have a registered account, go ahead and enter your username and your password. Next slide. Now, say you don't have a registered account, that's okay. If you don't want to create one, then you can sign in as a visitor. And there's a couple different ways to do that. So I will show you that right now. So you have to provide 3 pieces of information. You can either provide your account number, social security number, and meter ID. That can be found, their meter ID and account number can be found on your bill. Or you can provide your last name, the zip code of your service address, and the last 4 of your social security number. And you can sign in with those 3 pieces of information. Now, once you're logged in, over to the right-hand side, there is an area on this page that will tell you what your current rate plan is. In this example provided here for you, we have showcased that this customer is on E1. There is a box immediately below that that says Manage Your Rate Plan. Click that box. Now, you have literally just completed a rate plan comparison. This is, I told you it was easy, so I didn't lie to you. This is, it can't really get much easier than this. What you're seeing in front of you now is the eligible rate plans for this specific customer. So it shows there, highlighted on the top left-hand of the screen of the boxes, it says you're currently enrolled in this rate plan, which it's highlighted as tiered rate plan E1. And then right below that, you see the estimated annual cost for each of the different rate plans available for this customer. Now, in this case, you know, there's not a whole lot of difference from one rate plan to the next. Sometimes we'll see large differences. Sometimes we'll see small amounts. In this case, it's a $10 difference to go over to TOUC. So let's give it a try. Next slide. Now, in order to do so, you would have simply clicked TOUC, and then hit next, and you will receive this page, which is confirming that you are going to change your rate plan to TOUC. Kind of blown up there on the left-hand side, bottom of the screen, just indicates that the customer has been successfully enrolled. It tells them what their current rate plan is and what their new rate plan is going to be. And then an important note is that it does give you your effective date as well for your rate plan. So if you do move to a time of use rate plan, you know when you want to start shifting and conserving during those peak windows, and then you don't have to do so before then. But it's always a good idea just to start getting in the habit as soon as you make a change to a time of use rate plan so that you can begin changing those behaviors. But again, this is based on how customers are already using energy today. So if you see that a plan is showing a savings, that's based on how you've been using your energy. If you make other changes, you can save more. Next slide. Okay, so it looks like this is a highlighting of selecting that rate plan, and that was the right before we showed the enrollment. Next slide. Okay, so 3 easy ways you can change your rate plan. I just walked you through the steps of doing it. You can do it online just like that. If that doesn't work for you, or you have questions, you want to talk about it, that's fine as well. You can give us a call in our contact center. You can call 866-743-7945 to talk about the time of use transition, also available rate plan options. And then to take action on the time of use transition, you can also just use the perforated response on the 90-day notification and make your election there, and then just drop it in the mail. So there's a few different ways that you can get your rate plan changed or take action if you choose to do so. Next slide. Okay, assistance programs. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Now, when it comes to assistance programs, we have several that are available to PG&E and EBCE customers alike. To start off, we have some income-based programs. We have CARE or FARA. You can qualify for one or the other. CARE provides a 20% discount off of gas services, and it also provides a 35% discount off of electric services. If you need a little bit larger income allotment to qualify, and you have 3 or more people in your residence, then you may be suited best for FARA, Family Electric Rate Assistance. And that one provides an 18% discount on electric service. And you can go online to pge.com/CARE-FARA, and there you'll be able to easily see the income guidelines to determine if you qualify or not, and you can complete an application. Or if you need assistance, you would welcome any calls to the contact center to assist in enrolling in that as well. Next slide. Now we have one other program here that is income-based, and that's called Energy Savings Assistance Program. The great thing about this program is that customers can get help with this whether they own or rent their home. They don't have to actually own it to get assistance. And the benefits of this program are to help make the home more energy efficient, so that in turn, you use less energy and your bill is lower. So some of the things that they might be able to do for you would be maybe add weather stripping, do additional caulking, additional insulation, things of that nature. Also maybe replacement of inefficient appliances. All of those things affect your energy usage. And because of that, if we can improve on those items, then you can see less usage, and in turn your bill can be lower. So if you think you might be eligible to qualify, go online to pge.com/ ESA for Energy Savings Assistance and apply today. And then we have a medical baseline program. Now this program is designed to help customers who have a medical condition in the home. You don't have to be the account holder. If there's somebody residing in your home that requires additional gas or electric service to operate some kind of device to assist with a medical condition, then we can give you more usage at a lower rate, and then in turn your bill would be lower. One of the other added benefits to being on medical baseline is that you get additional notifications when it comes to any kind of public safety power shutoff. So that can be helpful as well. Some common type items to qualify for the medical baseline program would be things like oxygen, maybe a sleep apnea machine, somebody has arthritis and they need extra heating. Those are very common type situations. But if you have anything at all that you think might qualify, then please take a look online at pge.com/medical baseline to see if you might be able to enroll in that program. And then from now until at least June 30th, the qualifying guidelines for medical baseline have been relaxed quite a bit. Normally, you would have to have a doctor sign off that a medical piece of equipment is needed, or there's an equipment needed for a medical condition. But because of COVID-19 shelter-in-place orders, there's no required doctor signature at this time. So it's an easy application at this point. Go online and apply for that if you feel like you might be eligible. Next slide. Okay. Lastly here, I want to talk about communication. So we have the ability to include your preference on language, and we want to make sure that if there is important information that needs to go out to you, that you're getting it in the language that you desire. So if you have another language other than English that is preferred, then please go online to pge.com or give us a call in the contact center. The phone number for regular services is 1-800-743-5000. And we'll be happy to update your language preference and update your contact telephone number as well if that's needed. Now, one other point I want to make about assistance programs real quick is that a common question is, can you apply for multiple programs at the same time? And the answer is yes. You can stack these programs. So if you have an income that is limited and you feel like you might be eligible for these programs, then you can apply for CARE or FARA. You're going to be enrolled in CARE if you do qualify. If you don't qualify for CARE but you do for FARA, then we'll enroll you there. But then you can also get enrolled in Energy Savings Assistance Program and Medical Baseline all at the same time. So if you qualify for one, don't stop there. You might qualify for the others as well. And it's best for you to take advantage of those programs if you can. Next slide. Okay, and then in closing, I know Kelly probably has information that she would like to share as well, but I just want to highlight that there is some helpful links here for information in regards to the time of use transition. You can go online to pge.com /TOU every day. There's also the direct telephone line for assistance with the time of use transition, which is 866-743-7945. And then Kelly has some helpful links here as well that I'm sure she'd like to share with you.
Great. Yes. Thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you to all of the great questions we received in the Q&A tool. I think we were able to help out a lot of people. I would also recommend that everyone check out the chat right now. Kimberly from PG&E has added some really helpful links, some that folks might want to bookmark right now, things like that TOU every day. I will add in here the EBCE time of use so that you can just link to that as well to get that information. In closing, I guess just thank you very much for participating. And just, we just got one more question in. I will just answer this question live here. I've been having a great back and forth with a customer who has an electric vehicle, and they're wondering how does the rate choice tool work, and why is it showing them, that like E1 is better than an EV rate, even though they have an electric vehicle. And I guess just one of those things to point out is that when we're doing using the rate finder tool, is that all the rate finder tool has is the information about how you used energy in the past 12 months, right? So if you do have an electric vehicle, or if you have been putting your laundry in every single day at 5 p.m., then that's going to change how your rates look over the course of a 12-month period. So today, if maybe the TOUC rate looks like it's a little bit higher, I guess I would just encourage everyone to just think about like, well, what if I don't do laundry at 5 p.m.? What if I put it in right before I go to sleep? Or what can I do? Can I make one small change? Sometimes that's all it takes to get those TOU rates even lower than that E1 rate. So I think that that takes care of some of the questions that we received. I also want to put out a link for a survey, which in order to do that, I have to close the slideshow. So I'm going to end our slideshow, and I hope everyone's been able to get the information off of here. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen, which means you're going to see our faces really big. And let me just grab one little link here. And I would just ask that everyone please click on this link that I'm putting in the chat to answer a survey, and then we'll start to take some other questions. So I do see in the chat a question. This person is asking, my bill shows that I'm enrolled in NEM. Do I not have a choice to another plan? What is NEM and why do I have it? It adds over $200 to my monthly bill.
Do you want me to answer that,
yeah,
Kelly?
Do you want to take that one?
Do you know? Yeah. So what it's saying is that NEM is net energy metering, and that means that you are a solar customer. When the bills for NEM or solar customers are a bit more complicated because you are adding energy back to the grid, and you do have what is referred to as a true-up month. So over the course of a year period of time, you have this bucket of charge or usage that you are adding back to the grid, so giving you credits, and then you have what you're actually using, and you're hoping that your credits are going to offset the total amount of your energy usage. So what it's giving you is kind of like a blanket average of what you should pay monthly, so that you don't have to pay for everything all at the end of the year. When you do true up, and it calculates out to determine how much you've actually used versus deducting those credits for you that you put back onto the grid. Now, it really depends on if you are a standard NEM customer, meaning you've had your service for quite some time with solar, or if it's been something that's more recent. If it's more recent, then you're required to have a time of use rate, but you do have a couple rate options available to you. And if you go online and run the rate analysis, it will tell you which rate options are eligible. So it's only going to give you those that you'll be able to select from. And then
Great.
there's a question from Michael, it looks like. Do you see that one here? The price insurance guarantee is only paid back the difference between the old rate versus the new rate at the end of the 12-month period. So yes, that is correct. It looks like Gabrielle is maybe writing in a written answer, but it's a one-time bill protection allowance, and it's for up to 12 months. In order to receive bill protection from the generation side of it, you are required to stay on it for the full 12 months. You will receive actually a notification as you approach the 12-month period, and that letter is going to tell you how you've been performing on this rate plan overall. And it's going to tell you you've been either saving, you've been spending more, or you've been pretty much neutral. And it's going to remind you that your bill protection period is going to be expiring as of X date, so that you know when you have to take action. So that is another key item that is provided to you to make sure that you're aware of when to take action. And something else to note is that the majority of East Bay Community Energy customers are natural benefiters because of the climate that you live in. What that means is that most customers don't have to make any changes in the way they use energy in your area in order to benefit by moving to time of use. We still encourage you to do the rate analysis, though, to check based on how you've been using energy. And I'm glad to see so many people have already done so. So fantastic.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jessica. We have another question that came in that I think I think I can take this one. This person asks, how much is the basic charge for EV users? It's the flat monthly charge just to use the grid. And I think that they're referring to the minimum delivery charge associated with a net energy metering customer. Which for an average residential customer is about $10 a month, and that's the minimum delivery charge. If you have EV plus solar, that may be, maybe you're thinking about your car more than what's on your roof today. Okay, I'm going to go back to the Q&A and see if there's any other questions there, but I hope that we've been able to answer everyone's questions. Really, there are no bad questions here. So while you've got us on the line, do feel free to ask. And I may, now that I've got that link in the chat, I'm actually going to go back to making sure that I'm sharing the, that I'm able to share our contact information in case anyone needs to copy any more of that down.
These are really great questions. So I'm glad that people are taking advantage of this time to ask them, because likely if you have that question, somebody else does as well. So you're helping everyone in this webinar to know.
Okay. So if there are no more questions, then we will close. I will remind everyone that this is being recorded, so do check back to EBCE's. You can look at our YouTube channel, our social media to find the link for it. And we have one more great question. So when I log into PG&E, I see that my E1 and TOUC are about the same, but the rate goes down a little bit for EV.
So one thing to note that—
oh, but they're not an EV customer.
That's okay. It's just telling you that if you do have an electric vehicle, then you would be eligible for that. So you do have to have an electric vehicle. If you select that, it's going to ask you for the VIN number of the car, and you would be entering that and doing that rate enrollment. And keep in mind that if it's for the other customer who has an electric vehicle, these EV rates are a time of use type rate. So there is a peak period, a partial peak period, and an off-peak period. And until you start changing your usage behavior patterns, then it's considering, it's based on how you've been using your energy. So, of course, if you change the way you use energy, it's going to impact your estimates.
All right. Okay. All right, we have one more. We have one more. So our customer asks, what are the rates likely to do once the first year of protection is over? My January, February bills were nearly triple my November and December bills. What kind of shock should I expect?
Well, Vicki, what's happening is that over the course of the year period, you're going to fully understand how you're performing. Remember, there's going to be a letter that's sent out to you at the end of the year period of time when you get close to the end of that bill protection. And it's going to tell you if you have been a saver, if you have been spending more and you're going to be likely getting a credit, or you've been pretty neutral, not much change from E1 to TOUC. So you'll be able to make that educated decision right then and there at that time after your 12 months is expired to be able to get that bill protection from EBCE or remain on that rate plan. And as long as your usage doesn't change, your billing will be very similar. Now, if you find that you're getting peaks and valleys throughout different parts of the year because of seasonal factors, like maybe you use a lot of AC in the summertime, or you have to use a lot of heat in the wintertime, for anything like that, there is a program that is not a discount program, but what it does is it's called budget billing, and it gives a customer the ability to average out their total costs over a year period of time. This way, you know what to expect in terms of your bill, and it does look at your account every 4 months, or I think it's every 3 to 4 months. Can't recall if it's 3 or 4, and it figures out if that average has to change. And what it will do for you, though, is it helps to allow you to budget and take those higher times out of the equation.
Yeah, I think, Jessica, that's a really good option for customers. I will add, EBCE doesn't today have the ability to have our charges included in that budget billing plan. However, for most customers that have both natural gas and electricity on their PG&E bill, EBCE's generation charges are typically about 1/3 of the bill. So by using budget billing on the transmission and distribution, on the electric delivery side, and for all gas charges, that's 2/3 of your bill there that can be kind of flattened out over time.
Good point, Kelly. I forgot about that. So thank you.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for all of the great questions. Thanks again to Jessica and the PG&E team for co-presenting with us at EBCE today. And I really appreciate everyone asking such great questions. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any additional questions. And I will answer one last question before we go. Attendee is asking, so even after billing protection ends, can we still go back to our old plan at any time? Jessica, I'll leave this one with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have a choice when it comes to rate plan options. You can change your rate up to 2 times a year. So that doesn't change. E1, the tiered rate plan, is not going away. So if you don't want to be on time of use, then you don't have to be. Just know, though, that time of use does benefit a lot of customers. It also helps the environment, It helps us to incentivize customers to use renewable resources when they're most plentiful. And you may recall back just this last year, we had some power outages, some rolling blackouts across the state. That was because demand could not be met on the grid for the entire state of California. That wasn't a PG&E territory thing. And time of use can help to fight that. It can help to ensure that we have reliability to meet the demand on the electric grid. So some things to keep in mind, but it all comes down to choice, and you have it.
All right, great. That's a great note to add on, Jessica. Yes, our customers have choice. So thank you everyone for joining today. I'm going to close the webinar, and do please reach out if you have any other questions. Thanks so much for joining.
Thank you.